Hello, I'm Ben, one of the many people who work hard on Get Lei'd for Kenny to make it happen each year. Just want to give you a little bit of an update, a little bit of background of what's going on. The shirts all should be out to you if you've already ordered. We have very few left, so if you're interested still in going, make sure to jump on the website and go. Biggest thing to update is kind of background on where we're at this year. We talked to the Shaw family, and the Kenny Shaw Memorial Scholarship is not going to live on past 2021. Since we're still doing the event, obviously we don't want to take in any money. We're all volunteers, and we wanted to raise money for some good causes because that's what this started as. So we worked with the Shaw family and identified a couple organizations that do great work for veterans, and we want to make sure that it was something that Kenny would be proud of, and it sounds like we've been able to do that. Those two organizations are the C4 Foundation and Helping Hands for Freedom. What we asked of both those organizations if they would have a quick Zoom call with us and just kind of give a little background on how they started, where they came from, and the work that they do. And I want to give some context to that at the beginning of that Zoom call. We're just going to go ahead and put that after the words that I have to say here after this, so that you can hear directly from them the work they do. It was great to hear from them, great to hear the work they do, and we're looking forward to doing the same with Helping Hands for Freedom. But we can't say enough about both these organizations being willing to be the beneficiaries for our event this year. Quick couple thanks to the Shaw family. Thank you again for allowing us to do this for a 9th year. We're just, I think I can speak on behalf of all the planners, all the people who come out to the event. Thank you for allowing us to honor your son, to have a good time, get everybody together every year. We're looking forward to doing it again. So to all of you, thank you for allowing us to remember Kenny in the way that we do. Thank you to all the sponsors. We've already raised a bunch of money. It literally never touches our hands. So it goes directly to the C4 Foundation and directly to Helping Hands for Freedom. Once we sell all the shirts, we'll go ahead and cut a check to both of those organizations 50-50. So we have some other exciting things that we're going to do, but yeah, thank you to all the sponsors for stepping up and being part of the event this year. And lastly, to the attendees, thank you for everybody who's jumped on. When all's said and done, we're sitting right at about 700 shirts is about what we ordered. Biggest year we've ever had. Took a little bit of a break last year because of COVID, but we're happy to be back out there again. So thank you to everybody who has purchased a shirt and is going to be getting out there again on December 4th. So we'll have some additional updates for you, but enough of me. I'll just kind of go into the Zoom video again. This is just a Zoom video or a Zoom call that we had with the Keating family to kind of give a little bit of an explanation of who their son was and the work that they do. And I can only speak for myself. There were some other people on the call, but we're truly grateful and very excited to be able to raise money for a great organization this year. So thank you.
I've got I have two sons. Both were SEALs. Charlie obviously was a SEAL. My son Billy's a SEAL. Literally just got out of the Navy like 2 weeks ago, which I'm actually happy about right now. But then I also have a son-in-law who's a SEAL. So we've kind of got a long history here. And when everything happened with Charlie, we're all from Phoenix, super large family back there. My sister runs the Hubbard Family Swim School. They have like, I don't know how many thousands of kids go through their swim school every week. But anyway, he had 32 cousins, and all of them lived in Phoenix at one point. And he also considered the SEALs as his brothers, obviously, as Garrett understands. But the bottom line is that as we kind of decided that we wanted to do something to kind of honor his life, we kind of realized, he was all about family and what could we do to help his family and the teams. As we got into it, one of the toughest things for Charlie during some of his deployments would be like half the guys in the platoon would be married, and literally half would get Dear John letters on deployment. And as we got into it, we're like, oh my gosh, there's an enormous divorce rate and difficulties with relationships in the teams because of the stressful lifestyle. If you count like deployments and while these guys are gone during their workup, which is in 18 months, and then they deploy for 6 or 7 months, they're gone on average at 270 days out of the year, which is really tough on a family. And, it's a difficult lifestyle. These guys are always at the tip of the spear. A lot of danger involved and obviously a lot of risk. And the poor wives are left at home taking care of the kids and left alone essentially. And then, in our own experience with my own boys, that you get home from deployment and you're torn 50 ways. The parents want to see you. The wife wants to see you. The kids want to be with you. That you want to go out and have a drink with the boys because you haven't been home in 7 months and kind of decompress and think about, kind of just talk about what happened, good and bad on the deployment. In the past, and tell me if I'm going on too long because I tend to ramble. In the past, what they would do to try to decompress the platoons coming back is they would send them to Disneyland for 3 days, which was exactly the worst place you could possibly send them, because you're putting them you're essentially taking guys out of, which is kind of like Billy, as my son Billy's last deployment was to Western Mosul, pushed out ISIS out of Western Mosul, literally fighting house to house every day. And then you come out of that and, like 48 hours later, you're in Disneyland. It's just the wrong place and the wrong thing to be doing. The kids are wanting to go on rides and all you want to do is have a beer and hide out. But we always thought our boys recovered pretty well because they'd go up and they'd surf down the coast of California for a week or two after deployment. And we always noticed that after they did that, there was really kind of a big change in their attitude and just kind of the way they were recovering. So we kind of thought, hey, let's figure out how to help the families. Let's maybe get a ranch or something that they could go to. And while all that was happening, we met up with a donor who's a large donor in the University of Southern California. He introduced us to a neuroscientist that works in the business school. And his job was to take super high performing individuals and figure out how to allow them to perform even to their abilities and beyond. He worked with Pete Carroll, the football coach, who, being from Phoenix, I can't stand. But he also worked with Kobe Bryant at the time, and people like that, out of that USC program and in the LA business community. And so we went to him with what we wanted to do, and he's like, "Well, I'm not a marriage counselor, but I do work with high performing individuals, make them better, make them learn how to communicate better amongst each other." And we said, that's exactly what we want. We don't want to do marriage counseling. We're not interested in that, but we are interested in figuring out how to make these guys, all these A-type personalities like you guys, teach them how to communicate better with their families, how to perform better as family men, and also the wives and kids to integrate better as families and understand each other. And as we got into it, we found out several things. One, we were working very closely with Naval Special Warfare, NSW. We were working very closely with the head shed there, with the psychologist in the family services office. And we started explaining kind of what we wanted to do. The team psychologists were like, "Oh my God, this is so simple. It's brilliant." And it's, believe me, we're way more on the simple side than on the brilliant side. But he felt like it was a brilliant idea. And as we've kind of gotten into this, it's become, our demand for what we're doing has overwhelmed us. Right now, we've had over 700 or 650 to 700 people up to the ranch so far this year. About 375 of those are SEALs. The rest would be family members, wives and children. We've got very limited facilities up there right now. We have 2 beautiful homes. We've got some tents that we're building on these, glamping tents, but we're bringing families up, and they're resting and recuperating after deployments. Our goal is to focus on the high stress points before deployment, during deployment for the families, and then of course after deployment when the entire platoon comes up with their families. In addition to that, we've got Garrett, we've got team offsite that happen up there. So 80 guys from a newly formed team will come up and have their offsite meeting, which is when the team first forms. Kind of the leadership and the admin will come up and spend 3 days developing kind of what their goals and objectives are for that deployment. So we've had, and every 6 months we have a new team comes up now and has those 3 days with 80 guys up there at the ranch. We also have chief messes, which are the chiefs and senior chiefs and master chiefs come up and have different meetings with 40 or 50 people, and they come up for 3 days at a time. So the ranch has really become a focal point for the SEAL teams on the West Coast as a place of just to get away from everything, to get out of the city, a place to go and be with your family, to find a peaceful and relaxing place to decompress. And one other thing before I'll stop talking. One of the things that we've learned is that when these guys deploy, a chemical change occurs in the brain, which is actually a really good thing because it makes their situational awareness go through the roof, and also their aggressiveness, which is exactly what you need on the battlefield. But when they come home, that has to reverse. And if you can get them into a nature, if we can get them into a nature-based setting, it'll reverse that change. It'll accelerate that change by a factor literally of 10. So if we can get them up there for 3 nights, and I'll tell you, 3 nights up there, you feel like you're gone for 2 weeks, but it has an enormous beneficial effect on their ability to transform back into normal society. And in a nutshell, that's kind of what we do. I could go on for hours, but you don't want to hear all that.
Well, and then that's what we figured that was what the need when we saw Charlie and Billy deploy, and when they'd come back, they weren't saying like, oh, we need to be in nature. They would just be like, I just want to be alone. I'm going to go surf down the coast. And then it just seemed like that was their thing to do. So after Charlie was killed, that's what kind of inspired us to like, okay, what's missing? All of the charities, a lot of them have the transition out and helping them get a job and all that kind of stuff. And we thought, how can we help active duty Navy SEALs and their families as a whole? So active duty, we had to get permission from Naval Special Warfare and the Admiral. And it took us about 18 months to get that approval. So we're the only charity that is dealing with active duty Navy SEALs.
In this way, and bringing up, yes, that's true. Yeah.
So that's kind of how we separate ourselves from all the other Navy SEAL charities, is that we're helping the active duty. And we do, we have some retired guys who are like, oh man, I need to get up there. And they're our friends, and we let them.
During COVID, one of the SEALs that had just retired, Tom Berg, I don't know if you knew him, Garrett, an older guy. Tommy passed away from cancer, couldn't have a service. And well, we don't have COVID up at the ranch, so we were able to have a memorial service up there for Tommy. And, like over 250 people came and were able to attend that. And it was super healing for a lot of the guys that knew him, and
his family too, his wife.
Well,
and kids
yeah. So we're able to do those kind of things, and our focus is on the active duty guy. So we're very fortunate to be able to work with them. I'm very fortunate to have this property, which is insane. If you're ever out in San Diego, we'd love to take you up and show it to you. But it's it's, you know, it's literally, I mean, I drive there in an hour and 20 minutes, but 22 minutes, but it's an hour and a half from Coronado. So it's an hour and a half from the base. So it's easy to get there, easy to get home. A lot of the guys live in Poway or up near there. So it's an hour for them. It's super easy. And it's, you know, you go from sea level here and the ranch is at 4,000 feet. It looks back over the Pacific Ocean. It snows, it rains, has 4 seasons, and it's extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's having an enormous impact on the teams.
Yeah, and it's not annoying for the kids to drive up, and even if the guys are gone and the wives are on deployment, the wives will come up with the kids, and it's not like, you know, when are we going to get there? It's a beautiful drive, and it's in a beautiful area of San Diego. You wouldn't think that you're in San Diego County. It's like a whole different world. So anyway, that's what we do.
Awesome.